No one likes to talk about suicide, but a Nemaha County family says that's exactly why we need to. September is Suicide Awareness Month, an issue the Quigleys never imagined they'd experience so personally. In tonight's To Your Health, Chief Photojournalist Doug Brown and I saw how they're turning their pain into purpose. Messages dot the streets of Corning, Kansas and the Nemaha County countryside. You're tough, you're beautiful, all fulfilling a purpose.
He was so full of life. He was the kid who was the daredevil.
Damon Quigley was 13 years old.
He loved sports. He wasn't afraid to try anything new.
Yeah, he was a fixer. He liked to fix people. Yeah. He cared about your issues or whatever it was, and he just wanted to help you.
But Damon wasn't fixing himself.
Bye, love you. Bye, love you too, Mom. Just an ordinary morning.
January 19th, 2021, Damon, home alone and away from friends on COVID-related quarantine, took his own life.
We actually didn't know anything was wrong. He must have worked really hard at keeping it from us for whatever reason that we'll never really know. He just buried it so deep.
There weren't any indicators.
Brenda, Ron, and their two older children decided as a family to be open about what happened, first including it in Damon's obituary.
Our reasoning was, if we can't talk about it, then isn't that just perpetuating the idea? Just don't talk about it.
And more too, to break the stigma of it's a bad thing to talk about. That's, I think, the point we want to get across is that, you can talk about it and you need to talk about it.
They channeled their pain into purpose.
Maybe that's Damon's purpose, is to save another life, is to save someone who's having those thoughts, and that person thinks, okay, well, I heard it's okay to talk about it. So Damon's purpose is to promote mental wellness.
Brenda started posting to Facebook with the hashtag Damon's Purpose. When they invited people to create signs with positive messages, their home overflowed.
There were people sitting on the floor. There were people outside.
Hundreds of wristbands bear the message,
it is okay to not be okay.
And Centralia's school allowed them to make over a staircase, telling students, you are worthy, you are enough, you can rise above whatever demons you face.
I guess my biggest prayer is that kids are able to verbalize what's happening. Even if they don't know what to say or how to start the conversation, they can at least say, I haven't been feeling like myself lately.
Very critical for that first step so that we can step in and be able to support them when they need that support.
Brad Chapin of Stormont Vale Behavioral Health agrees there are many people like Damon who don't show outward signs of struggle, so people need to know they're not alone.
Struggle is a human factor, and so getting that message out there and that there is hope, because not just the fact that we have struggle, but we also have things that work when we feel like we're struggling.
Each time someone reaches out or visits the tree planted in Damon's memory, the Quigleys see signs the message is taking root.
You're so loved and needed right here. You have purpose right here.
And Damon's purpose now is to encourage others to speak up so their silence doesn't stretch forever.
We would like for people to see that it's okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to suffer in silence. You have to reach out.
If you or someone you know is struggling, you can call the Suicide Prevention Lifeline anytime, 24/7. That number right here, 800-273-8255. You also can support awareness efforts with the Shawnee County Suicide Prevention Coalition's 5K Run Walk. It is virtual, so you can do it anytime next week. I have that link and a lot more resources on the health page of WIBW.com. When you think of a nurse, you probably don't picture the two people you'll meet in tonight's To Your Health. Both are tackling their goals in more ways than one.
It takes a lot of discipline and commitment every single day. Focus on one thing at a time.
Pressure up front, Jacob Anderson.
You got to count on the man next to you.
Washburn University linebacker Jacob Anderson sounds like he's talking about football.
You got to take it step by step, play by play.
But he's also describing his life off the field as a student nurse.
The reason I wanted to be a nurse was because I wanted to make an impact and help other people.
While most other student athletes are enjoying the NCAA's mandated Monday off from team commitments, Jacob is suiting up for a 6 a.m. clinical shift at Stormont Vale Hospital.
It's pretty tough to get through if I can just really be organized. 12-hour day on Monday. I'm up here again for another 8 hours on Tuesday. Then I have practice, film study, homework. Wednesday I have class all day, and I have homework to do after that, test to study for. So really it's just about me managing my time well.
If he ever needs advice, he just looks to the guy who lines up next to him on the field.
And just kind of the fast-paced action of it is fun.
Brooks Peevler, the leading tackler for Washburn in the first half with 8.
Fellow linebacker Brooks Peevler finished his nursing degree last spring. He too sees parallels between the football field and the hospital halls.
You never know what you're going to get. You study all week and you think you know what's going to happen on Saturday, but you get out there and they're running something totally different and you just got to adjust on the fly.
It's those skills that make their coaches more than willing to adjust the game plan for their demanding schedules.
Really the work ethic that they have. They may miss a practice or two or miss some drills or things like that, but they make up for it the rest of the time. They're fearless, they're competitive, they want to do a great job.
It's also why hospitals love to recruit student athletes to their team.
You're really learning how to work with people, how to motivate people, how to pump people up, how to communicate, how to read each other, how to have each other's back. And, you know, those are the same skills you need in life, but really in healthcare.
Never mind that other skill at which Brooks and Jacob excel.
I'm a linebacker, so I love tackling people. But when I'm on that football field, there's a certain mentality you have to where you have to turn it on. And then when you're off the football field, you kind of have to turn it off.
And after football, they're ready to help their new team be fierce defenders for their patients.
They trust you to help them get better, so it's rewarding.
And actually being here in person and able to practice these skills that I've been taught about and actually make a difference in patients' lives that I'm taking care of, that makes it all worth it to me.
Brooks and Jacob aren't alone. Washburn has had several student athletes balance their time from multiple sports in the nursing program over the years. And by the way, something a little fun, we first heard Coach talk about them on the Washburn Coaches Show on 106.9 radio. And then we realized Jacob is the son of 13 News morning reporter Phil Anderson. Dad should be very proud. Silver Lake family says the Delta variant is targeting our youth. It's a message they didn't understand, they say, until it hit home in the most tragic of ways. Now they are using their loss in hopes others put doubts and misinformation aside and get protected.
Just the most amazing kid.
Tyler Blaylock was 20 years old.
Always happy.
A college baseball player.
If a player went down on the field, he'd be the first one to help him up. Just a very kind soul.
He loved video games and his little sister.
He would do anything for me.
And on September 16th, he died from COVID.
It went so fast, it was like a tornado.
The fight started more than a month earlier. Tyler's parents, Kayla and Johnny, both tested positive for COVID.
When you leave the doctor, you don't get medicine when you test positive for COVID. And I get it, there's no medicine, I understand that.
Johnny's symptoms remained mild, but Kayla developed severe breathing trouble and was admitted to the hospital. August 16th, Tyler tested positive. 5 days later, Johnny called to tell Kayla he was rushing home. Tyler was in trouble.
I immediately hang up and I call Tyler. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, what's going on? He's like, Mom, I'm laying in the bathroom floor, I cannot catch my breath.
For the next 30 days, Tyler's condition would go up and down. He spent stretches in isolation, spiking his anxiety.
They arranged a FaceTime, and that was the hardest thing a mother will ever have to go through, is to see how scared your child is.
After repeated requests, the Blaylocks were allowed at Tyler's bedside.
But at that point, it was too late.
Tyler's organs were shutting down.
3 days in a row, our doctor came in and said, I don't know what to do.
We know that they tried everything I guess they thought they knew to do.
The family would like to see researchers put more attention on early treatment and allowing healthcare providers more flexibility to try different interventions.
Where's the fine line? Do you worry about his immune system, or are you worried about trying to get him better and face the consequences afterwards? Because at the end of the day, he still passed away. That's the battle.
The other battle is one they themselves resisted. Neither they nor Tyler was vaccinated against COVID.
All the whys and the woulda, shoulda, couldas, you know, I mean.
What could I have done?
Yeah. I mean, there's guilt from everybody. You know, you didn't protect your child.
You just don't think your 20-year-old strong son will need it until more data comes out.
They're working to change that personally.
For my son and for my family, I got vaccinated.
I wouldn't want anyone to go through what I went through with losing my brother and like literally sitting by him in the hospital and watching him take his last breath. You never know, and you can take the chance on getting the vaccine and actually like living and protecting yourself.
The Blaylocks have heard from about 400 people, family, Tyler's high school and college friends, strangers, all pushed to get vaccinated because of Tyler's fight. They used the hashtag #Shot47, Tyler's baseball number.
Every day when it pops up in my feed, it breaks my heart, but it makes me happy because I feel like something good is coming from it.
A sign Tyler is still watching over them, still caring for others.
It can happen to you. You can be 20 and healthy, and it still can happen.
This Delta virus, it's going after our youth. And this is, in my opinion, the best way to protect them. I don't live scared. I never have lived scared. I'm scared to death now. I lost my son. I almost lost my wife. And I don't want to lose nobody else. And I don't want nobody else to.
All hospitals have had very strict visitation during the pandemic, but they have said those policies continually evolve, and they are making efforts to get family members to the bedside. If you still need a COVID vaccine, they are free and available. You can find a spot to get one on WIBW.com. You just click Find a Vaccine. It is in the banner right at the top of our homepage.
And those